Okay, we're back. Sorry. Part 2. I gotta love when we're
Yes.
pre-recording, but it was time to stop and we had to take a little tea break. So I hope you had your tea break, and now we're gonna come back. But I'm going into the masculine energy too, as we were finishing up on our conversation of how mom used to, for single parents out there who have to be both mom and dad and play both roles, and how hard that can also be. And did you have to say something about that?
Well, I've noticed the evolution of women, whether it's by choice or they find themselves in that situation. But I look at my mom's generation and her mom's generation, where they would just stay in relationships where they're being dominated and neglected or abused. And they go to their mom for support, and mom's like, "You lucky you got a doctor husband. You know, you lucky you got a husband. Stay. What are you doing to make that happen? You know." And I remember vowing to myself that I would never be in that. And so when I would start finding that I'm in that, I was like, I'm leaving. I'll stand on my own alone. You know, and
Like, it was worth it for you to be on your own. It made more sense, or it was worth it for you to be on your own than to be in a relationship that was toxic.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of women are recognizing that, and the wave and movements of feminism, and I talk about that. We were talking about that, of like the different waves of codependency to independence, like I don't even need your ass, like to interdependence, and how we're now moving in that space
we
where
need
it's
a balance.
balancing.
And the masculine needs to understand the power and strength of the feminine.
Hence why we have the hangman for the masculine energy here of.
And the other side
of perspective.
The other side of being mom and dad is also, I learned, challenging when it comes to trying to be the disciplinarian. When they need you to be the all nurturing, all loving, unconditionally loving mom, but then you have to turn around and be the disciplinarian and try to instill certain things.
Well, and then you're just tired. You're exhausted.
A lot of times, there was resistance. I think because people, the children feel like you're, putting them down or something when you're trying to instill something. But I think if it was a father figure there to kind of back it up and say, yeah, these are the rules. Well, mom can just be over here and like, okay, honey.
Well, that's still the gender. It's still genderizing roles there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily about the mom should be the one that never disciplines and the dad is the one that has to be stern. It's more so of how you're able to consciously parent. And when you're running on fumes, you come home after having been, especially in your field of work, which is extremely highly exhausting, but also extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Demanding of your time, your energy, your attention. Like, it's not like you just go in and you go click on the keyboard for 8 hours and then come home and you can put all that energy away. You are constantly on call, and then on top of that you have emergencies all the time, and you have people who are constantly like needing for your attention on top of your children. So you just didn't even have a lot of time to look, the temperance card. You didn't have the time, the chance to balance. Let me show them the temperance. And that's what the masculine energy is needing for, all of us, within us all. But that's the thing about, this is very on the strong topic for single parents out there who feel this. Like, I was listening to a podcast by a woman named Teal Swan, and she was talking about how this world just isn't even suited for single women to be successful. For single mothers to be successful. Not single women, single mothers. Because you do need that nourishment and are not in a gender role specific, but it actually is in like primitive, primary, like nurturing maternal way of like holding your child and connecting. You held them in your womb. You know, that kind of like nourishment gets completely like almost like split in half or ripped apart because
because when I was home, I was asleep.
Yep.
And I, to this day, I don't know how to have fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know you still work.
We didn't get to go do fun stuff a lot or go on vacations. Or,
I mean, it was pure survival.
Yeah.
And that is something that the generations now, like coming from that, like as my own, you know, as I'm now a parent and like trying to recognize, like I don't really remember having like that quality playtime.
Yeah, if it wasn't dance class or band rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And those were passions. Those are my, like, now it's like, well, how do you have fun? I don't know. I just play music. I don't know. But then, like, because it's such a passion, but also a calling, it's like still not fun. Like, fun for me is like just relaxing and taking a bath. Like, and that's okay, but like I remember when Indigo was a child, and like even to this day, like he's like, oh, Dad likes to do playtime and we wrestle and we're hands-on and we're loud, and I'm just like, we couldn't be at a level 9, you know, like, and it was just like, and that was Grandpa, like, stop having fun. And it was just like learning how to temper and balance that within myself, even as an adult child and having my own children, and not blaming you. I think having gotten more mature and healing on my own self with the Ace of Cups here at the bottom of the deck, like that pouring back into myself, being able to like understand the divine love and like understand that you were doing the absolute best you could instead of seeing it as like victim, like you didn't love me or you weren't there. That neglect, even though it was still a form of neglect, and I still have my own inner child wounds to heal from it. It wasn't out of you didn't love me. It was out of you fucking loved me so much that that's what you had to do. You had to do that in order for us to live.
Be able to live in a nice neighborhood.
To live, go to a school that could,
afford the extracurricular stuff.
Yeah, and so it's like,
so the catch-22 or the sacrifice is, you know, they get to live that life, but I don't get to be there with them.
A part of it. Yeah, that is hard. That is a really tough catch-22. You know, and some kids, and growing up, and even moments of like, damn, I wish you were there for this dance show or that volleyball game and things like that. It's like, and if you were doing paperwork because you had to work. Like, it's just like, it feels like it wasn't fair.
It wasn't balanced.
It wasn't balanced.
But
you had to do what you had to do.
Because, look, you saw the strength of overcoming that versus seeing me get beat every night.
Yeah,
or being cussed out by your dad, you know.
Exactly. Like, well, and it's true. I mean, even
not
though
like that happened, but
I mean,
some
I don't,
women, you know, for me, I witnessed a lot of verbal abuse.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where you cannot say or do anything right, and I found myself in relationships like that since. So I said I will not raise my daughters in that.
Well, and I appreciated that. Like, I still also understand that too. Like, I understand, like you said before, then like the sacrifices because of the relationships that you were in was like toxic and unhealthy and abusive and harmful to you and to your children, more than it would be if you had to leave and just have to do it all on your own. It's like, it is that like which is worse kind of scenario. It's like, you know, and that part is a really tough decision, and that's the part that I think that is coming into this balance. And that's why I think that this Ace of Cups is here too, because for the like masculine collective, because within ourselves a new masculine energy is emerging. Like, we're learning how to be able to nurture the feminine energy and be able to like, that's what the divine masculine community and and collective is understanding how to balance that. You know, all that pent up rage and energy has nothing to do with the feminine. It's what they were also neglected and deprived of being able to do. But this new ace, we had a lot of aces coming there, like this ace of cups, that's of new love. It's a new chance at being able to pour into your own self with love, but also being able to renew loving connections in a more balanced and tempered way, which I think is really beautiful that those cards came out as we're talking about this. And I think that, you know, you as a mother of 2 boys and 2 girls, like you kind of had that what's the word? I don't know what the word for it. Experiment. I don't know. To like, you know, how you know, like in the sense of raising boys versus raising men versus raising women, and how like what you learn from each child and what each child took from that, and you know, obviously like the firstborns always are kind of like the run and get the, you know, you don't know what you're doing either, like, you know, kind of thing. But also trying to just doing your best. But being a mom raising men, for the single mothers, for the mothers that are raising men out there, like you are trying to teach a man how to be a man while never having been a man by the experience of the men in your life, of like what not to do. And you have raised some really beautiful sons, and they do have a wonderful kind of side of them that still is you know, gentle and compassionate and balanced in their feminine connection of their feminine energy to an extent. And I think that is really beautiful that you still made sure that you raised them with kindness, and you raised them with compassion, you raised them with humility, and that has been really cool to watch, because there are not a lot of men that I have seen that are like my brothers. Like they're freaking amazing. Yeah. So kudos to you.
I think it was intrinsic. It's just born. All of y'all are definitely, you know, from the indigo. You came from indigo parents, and you all are the crystal and the rainbow. You're a little mix of indigo and crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, somewhere in there.
Because, you know, I think with indigo comes the...
And not my son indigo, y'all. Not my son. Indigo children.
Being an indigo starseed comes with, you know, having to stand up against adversity or experience adversity and heal from it for some reason, to make you stronger or to help other people.
Yeah, very much Chiron energy, the wounded healer. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is, I mean, and then being very sensitive to that as well. I appreciate that you like recognize that our versatilities and our differences and our, you know, sensitivities, and even though like, again, like it maybe, like for me, I think it took us a little bit of time, but that's just because it took me a bit of time to really like come into myself and understand all of me without so much external.
Adversity. You had challenges from before you had a chance to know yourself. Both my daughters
Yeah, I mean,
had
it's
that
true.
challenge, and we all, I came into the world with that, and my mom. So we are definitely learning how to transmute, evolve, empower ourselves, so that our daughters, you know, can come into knowing themselves from the beginning, you know, just being fulfilled,
feeling empowered,
and not feeling like you're empty and you need someone to shape you and mold you and tell you,
protect you,
affirm
provide
you, you know,
affirm you,
and
all the things.
Maybe those are daddy issues too, you know.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
If, you know, when you have that daddy love in a healthy way, consistently, that's what helps you develop that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a better, you know, judge of character, and you know, feel that sense of worthiness, I think, is definitely a lot to do with women who also grow up with their parents as a single parent, and you know, without guys and girls have that struggle. Like the men don't know how to be in a woman's life and or in their partner's life, if they have been, you know, abandoned by their parent. And this is not to like say that, you know, my second half, you know, was it's hard, it's a, you know, not to get into that subject because obviously like we're interviewing mom, but at the same time I did learn a lot about like what I had to learn from my dad's in and outness is the only word I could say, without getting too touchy. Not like he's gonna watch this or anything, but but like, you know, it is something that I had to really understand in myself, that it wasn't anything personal, that it like I am still worthy of love and being secured and yeah, and just like I'm not gonna just like be left and things like that, right? And having, I think it's still the same type of way that I had to learn in my healing from mother wounds. I also am learning to heal from father wounds, of understanding his side of the story, understanding his upbringing as well, understanding that he is also a whole person and that he had his own issues and his own pains and heartbreaks that really fucked him up, for lack of better words, before he even met you or had me, or before he even really allowed himself to like, that has really scared him to open up. And I think that that's something we as women sometimes can also forget about the masculine energy, is that they also have their own wounds, and that they go through their own things that have put the, you know, masculine energy holds and stores their trauma in their heart chakra, and it limits their ability to love. And with this distorted masculine image of you cannot express your feelings and you can't show sensual, you know, emotions, and you can't be vulnerable and talk about the things that have hurt you, that's what's shifting and coming into balance, because it's very detrimental to the entire collective, and it's just going to continue to repeat cycles if it doesn't stop.
When I noticed that, you know, going back to slavery, you know, for the slave men that were slaves, and in a racist society, it's like that's the only place you can let off your anger is on your family, of the people that love you and that are scared of you, that, you know, can't hurt you.
Projecting. Projecting. That's so interesting that you said, as soon as you said slavery, I looked at the Six of Cups here, which is about like past life and like family. And you know, you like, she's like, I'll show you guys how she's like gazing into this new this like island castle over there, and it looks like an illusion, but it's really her kind of remembering past life
and that's
energy.
what I was gonna say too, even with abuse, you know, we have to understand the perpetrators were also abused, and they have a story as well, and that's the only way to be able to forgive and heal, is to see that they were also been through what you've been through, and it just happened, and they learned that behavior.
And it's not to say that they, even if it's a different type of been through, you know what I mean? Like, not every scenario is going to be the exact same.
Right.
But that's not to say that their pain isn't still inflicting suffering onto them. And if you don't know how to heal through that, like if you don't know how to purge through that, if you don't know how to work through that, that is why the healers of this earth now, that, you know, are here. That's why we're here. That's why we're here, is to try and offer a new kind of, I lost my train of thought because I pulled out the oppression card. Wow.
I love the color.
The new, we're trying to heal through that, and we're trying to teach how, how to feel, feel through it, heal through it, awaken through it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I love this oppression card because she's like, or he or they are just over, they have under this veil of and hiding, oppressing their entire expression. And you can see how there's even like, there's a feather, which is like for ancestry, like as we're talking about our slave ancestors. Not to mention the lineage before slavery, who we were before then, which is what I saw with that Six of Cups with the castle, the royalty. And then like you have the earth sign, the earth, like the actual earth, the oppression over the earth. And Mama Gaia, how we've oppressed her needs.
It's all related.
The gems, these are crystals, a blue crystal for the throat chakra, yellow crystal for the solar plexus chakra. We have been oppressing our expression, our truth, our self-will, our entire being. But
not to mention the matrix.
Not to mention the matrix, for real. Like, I mean, again, that's the whole idea of this oppression, is like to forget who we are. And I think this is pretty spectacular. I don't even know. The bottom of the deck of here is the Lovers. For this is from the Spirit, from Spirit's Akashic Record Starseed Tarot. And this one's so interesting because I don't know what the dogs have to do with this, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Dogs represent loyalty and companionship, no matter what. But also, I love this Vesica Pisces because look, it's my necklace that I'm wearing right now. And this always, you can't see it, but this is always that Vesica Pisces is the feminine and masculine energies coming into one, right? Like coming into, and there's that merge where this is where they are interdependent now, right? They're whole circles. And that's what I love about this Lover's card, is that it's about being completely whole. Not meaning you have to be perfect. Yeah, the Eight of Swords under that. There's a lot of mental chains, and it can be scary to do that because you have to work on healing yourself. But what my journey has been of this channel of, conscious love, the road to conscious love, healing the heart of a woman and soul of mankind through conscious love, is understanding that we are to be whole individuals together. You are not meant to complete me. I am not meant to make you happy, or I'm not responsible for your well-being. We are each other's cheerleader, support system. We are here to encourage each other to be the best version of ourselves, with each other, and for the world, for the collective. But we are not responsible for that. We're only responsible for our own healing, for our own wholesome. And it's not to say you have to be perfectly healed before you can be in a relationship. Healing in a relationship is very much part of the healing process, because now you're merging those energies together and having to understand, you got your baggage and I have mine. Can you still love me? Can we still work through our triggers and our traumas and not blame each other or fight about it, or whatever the case is? I love that. It's so interesting that it came with the oppression card too. I think that is very interesting how I always think of them, the bottom of the decks are like what you don't see, coming. And so for the feminine to have the Hierophant card here, which you guys didn't see because this was part 2. So if you're only tuning in to part 2 and you didn't see part 1, feminine had the Hierophant card, and, living larger than life, like continuing to trust in her intuition, continuing to work hard despite the obstacles that make her feel afraid, because it was in reverse. And to let your intuition guide you. Let the night, the light in the darkest of night guide you within you. And to trust in your craft, trust in your abilities, trust in your skills, continuing to work hard on them, because when you do that, despite the fears, that's where the Hierophant card of living larger than life, of creating a brand new contract for your soul comes in. And I love the Justice card underneath that. Justice card underneath that in reverse, but that's the Libra card. And you know, it's I'm hearing breaking out of the old traditions, and that's why that Justice card is in reverse.
Yeah. And I think that both men and women, when we're young, you know, from the time we leave home, we really need that time to just be alone and be able to cultivate our own thoughts, our own, you know, interests, personality. Because once you get in a relationship and you're living together, it's either, you know, can tend to be one person, you know, directing everything, and the other one just kind of revolving around that person.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you know, if you don't know yourself first and what you like and what you don't like, what you need, you find yourself just like not fully developing your full potential.
Right.
You know, nobody could have told me that at 17.
Right, absolutely.
But
Well, and we live
that's
in
my advice.
It's
now.
great advice. And it's also important to be aware of that, because our whole life leading up to age 18 or graduating high school is people telling us how we have to think, how we have to be, how we have to show up in class, or how we have to show up in school, or how we have to, in order to be respected or honored or appraised, you have to get good grades, you can't have any, you know, problems with the teacher. Like, it's just all the things. Be in the clique. You have to be, like, it's,
you know, all I could think about, who's my husband gonna be?
Exactly.
You know,
well, right, and then there's that, and then you have society also being like, okay, make sure women, like, you grow up and you just find a good man.
Yeah.
Just make sure he's a good man.
Quick.
You're right, before
family.
time ticks. Yeah, and that's also shifting.
It's really, it's so healing to spend that time. Once you can be at a place where you enjoy being by yourself, you know, you're not just feeling lonely and depressed the whole time until somebody calls you, or, you know, when you can really enjoy yourself with yourself, you ready.
And like, I used to ask myself, like, how do I know if I'm enjoying myself? Now I realize when people are asking me to hang out, I'm like, nah, I don't want to be, I'm good just hanging out. I'm about to have my own date. I just want to watch my own shows by myself, and just like, I'm good. Like, that's how you know. And like, sometimes it also has to do with, like, maybe you're also shifting out of like those people and that energy too. If you're growing, again, this is about outgrowing your home, outgrowing your life as you know it. And so it's like, I would rather be alone than, you know, no, not all company is good company just because it's company, right? And I think that can feel really scary, because again, there's a lot of codependent presumptions in this world that teach us, like, it's scary to be alone, it's scary to be a woman by yourself, it's scary, like, how are you going to take care of yourself, and blah blah. But that is shifting. We're working hard now, we're learning, and we're also understanding the interdependence of new relationships, the balance of your, you know, of the two energies, the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies within ourselves. That's what this Ace of Cups is here, really within yourself. Truly, when you can pour into yourself, when you can allow spirit and divine to pour into you, and you then overflow with that effervescence of divine love, that's where you, and I love that this is like how this angel is like pouring into each other's cups, and then we have the Ace of Cup overflowing, almost as if the divine hand is pouring into this angel's chalice you know, and to merge and
camera.
to merge and to alchemize. Here, I'll show them. And beautiful, the Ten of Pentacles under the Ace of Cups. That's really beautiful, actually. Very beautiful energy.
It's a new deck.
No, it's not new.
It's not the Lemurian.
No, this isn't Lemurian. We're going to get into Lemuria. But this is just the Rider-Waite's traditional that I use for the masculine. But I just love that. Okay, this is how we were seeing it. You see how like the divine hand is pouring, overflowing, and then going into this angel's chalices. And I always think of the Temperance card as like alchemizing. You know, how you're pouring hot water into cold water, if you think about that as like the yin yang or the feminine masculine energy. Pouring them into each other's cup over and over, what does it do? It merges the contents and it creates warm water. And then you can bathe in warm water, and then you can, you know, grow in warm water. It's not too hot, not too cold. And I love that you have this the Ten of Pentacles under that, because that is also when you can balance that energy within yourself, as the masculine energy begins and the masculine collective begins to balance and pour into themselves and heal from their, you know, brokenness and heal with divine love. You have this beautiful, abundant legacy that you're growing and maintaining, right? You're restoring a brand new tradition of love for your generations to come. Really beautiful. Yeah, I love this. It's actually really beautiful. So let's see what Lemuria has to say. I saw Freedom at the deck and She of the Lotus. Really beautiful.
I'm going to tell y'all a story about Leah's great aunt, Princess Reba.
Okay, from the high heart chakra.
Since we're talking
Your ecstatic
about
bliss.
Where we come from, she had quite a story. She was a teenage mother back in the 1920s, 30s. You know, back then, if you were a teenage mother out of wedlock, they just take your child from you and they become a property of the state, and they're raised by the state, and then they're put in like a work farm from the time they like 8, 9, 10.
So it's not slavery, but it's slavery.
Yeah, child labor. So, but she was a psychic. She read tarot cards and she read tea leaves and she had a crystal ball.
I wonder where I got all this from. Yeah.
I'm just feeling her energy right now.
Yeah. Princess Reba.
And she was beautiful.
Stays in the family.
Yeah.
Princess Leah, Princess Reba. And she was a dancer too, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
She used to dance.
She was so beautiful that, you know, sometimes that can bring a whole lot of challenges, you know, especially when you're young.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
And she passed for different, she passed for Indian and Italian.
Oh yeah, when she would do her readings and performances at the clubs, and that's when she would do her palm readings and stuff like that, and it was for not veterans, but soldiers who were coming home on their leave, wasn't it? Yeah. I think that is really cool. Again, I think it goes back to that Six of Cups, like that past life energy of understanding all that was oppressed, like the history, our history. I mean, our history.
And now now we're carrying the torch.
Again, that torch that we saw with the Ace of Wands. Yep.
We are anointed to be of this generation to really heal it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We are.
Ooh, I feel that.
Generation right before me, the Panthers and the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X's, they had to put their lives literally on the front line and be prepared to die. You know, then comes my generation with the Rastas, you know, where now became cool and, you know,
Rico Suave.
Yeah, I mean, to be conscious was cool. Bob Marley brought that to the world.
Consciousness
You know,
is cool.
everybody sing about
That's
one
true.
love,
One love
and you know,
coming together.
it became glamorous, and it became, you know,
I think it was just because there was so much
well.
yearning for that, though.
Yeah.
Like it became mainstream because our humans needed it so badly.
Yeah, it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
And the hippie movement, all the music of the 60s and 70s. Remember Fifth Dimension?
Nope.
The dawning of the age of Aquarius they were singing about. But, you know, now we're just, the generations are steadily carrying that torch forward. And now we're learning, you know, I went through the revolution phase, you know, to analyzing and understanding white supremacy to the point where now there's black supremacy and we ready to have a physical revolution, and there was a lot of hatred, and then it was the same energy, just a different pole of it. And I finally came to realize evolution is the revolution.
Evolution is the revolution. That's
it's
what we're balancing
beyond,
here.
you know, race at this
New
point.
way of love.
It's about what your energy is. And we're able to now carry the torch and heal the pain of our ancestors.
That's right.
And evolve beyond, you know, for the sake of all of humanity.
That's right. This is the card that came out of the Lemurian deck. It's the 6th chakra of the high heart chakra. Ecstatic bliss. And there's like hummingbirds. And it looks like it's almost like merging, like almost on fire. And what I thought was interesting too is that it says home. And her heart is open. So the fact that we have that high heart chakra here with the home card at the bottom with her heart open. And the home, she's pointing at that North Star. Maybe it's that comet that was supposed to be out here today. You know, with the bubbles of all of our ancestors' eyes. I and I and I and I and I watching us, right? The bubble of our ancestors watching us. And we're coming out, and how she's merging out of the heart with her heart. And look, there's like more eyes I didn't even realize. And yeah, I mean, I think that's what this whole evolution is about, is to really come back home, is to awaken our high heart chakra, our ecstatic bliss. I always think of bliss work too, and I think of the bliss work with the 8 of Pentacles like that too, like following your bliss, not following society or following oppression or following what's popular or mainstream, you know, or following security or whatever, like following what brings you joy.
We just have to make it. I mean, what told me, if I hadn't really had the, you know, the Afrocentric teachings that I had, I probably would have failed nursing school. Because, you know, especially once I start growing my locks, now I'm public enemy number 1 of all the instructors.
Right.
And literally come in class with my head wrap on and the student says, ooga booga.
Oh my God.
You know? And the teacher, you know, calls me out on any little thing I do. And I was the only one of like about 4 of the black students that even finished the program. And but you know what I kept saying, you know, my ancestors were the inventors of all this. You know, this goes all the way back to Egypt and you know, Thoth and you know,
exactly.
This is in my DNA, and so and then when I start working for other people and they're like, you never be supervisor, you never be charge nurse. That's when I said it in my head, I'm going to create my own foundation. It looks like I'll never get through their glass
Eine agenda effect.
And so that's what that determination.
Yes, exactly. Love that. That is, I mean, that's what that heart, you followed your heart. You listened to your bliss, your the ecstasy that came from your heart. And that's what brought you here. That's what brought you to continuously evolve revolve around the sun for 65 years. But really 25, you know, but like, I really like these. These are interesting. I'm curious. Actually, this one really is what pulled from me first, was the bottom of the deck of the Four Agreements of from Don Miguel's Four Agreements. Cultivate faith. And you see how this flower is coming out of his third eye. Be impeccable with your word.
Faith.
Yeah.
We're impeccable with your word.
Yeah.
I noticed she's blue like the throat chakra.
Yeah, like the throat. Yeah. And then the high heart chakra is right underneath the throat chakra. Maybe if, you know, I got to do just a plug in here, because this heart chakra, if anyone is interested in checking out my chakra healing series, the high heart chakra is definitely might have some extra messages for you as well, if this is resonating for you. But some next steps here that are also really coming through strongly is be impeccables. Don't take any personally, but this one says be impeccable with your word. Let go of self-judgment and blame. And then be impeccable with don't make assumptions. Relinquish the need to be, let me read this again. This one says, relinquish the need to change others. Wow.
That's Snoop Dogg on there.
Says that Snoop Dogg. Yup. That's hilarious. But and then with that blue bird there, right there, like, you know. And it's interesting because it goes back to that oppression.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and the faith. What is faith? And when you think about how the slaves endured slavery for all that time, was faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
All to this day.
And it was faith in what they could not see. That's why that plant is coming out of the third eye, right? Faith in what they could not see. And having to let go of self-judgment on this journey. Self-judgment and blame. We're doing the best we can, right? You did the best you could. I'm doing the best that I can. And trying to, relinquishing the need to change others. Like, you can't. Like, they're both in the dog species. But the canine species, but they're different breeds. We're all in the human species, but we're just different shades of color. And trying to change each other is what's harming each other, right? I love this one, how it says, real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, this means that we don't really like them. It's easier to find someone who's already the way you want him or her to be instead of trying to change that person. I didn't read this one either. Let go of self-judgment and blame. Being impeccable. Sorry for the glare. There we go. Ooh. Being impeccable. You take responsibility for your actions, but you don't judge or blame yourself for anything. That's strong. You take responsibility for your actions, but you don't judge or blame yourself. And that can be a hard balance, you know, especially when you're seeing where things were off or where we didn't do it right or something like that, where the pain comes in, but then just trying to like not judge yourself for it.
Make it a learning experience and chalk it up to being human.
Chalk it up to being human.
I mean, if you know that your intentions were good, that's what always saves my little ego when I'm feeling my ego challenge. Like, and I'm like, you know, did I that wasn't good, or why did I get that response? At least, you know, check yourself on what was your intention. You know, if your intention was good, and you're willing to see what you can do to change yourself if you need to learn, evolve, let go of whatever that ego connection was. It usually goes to the ego, the shadow self.
I know, I always hear that line, the road to hell is paved for good intentions. And it's like, what does that even really mean? Like, you know, like, it's important because our intentions are important. But I think understanding too, like you're saying, where could I have not necessarily like done better, but like, why, I don't know.
How
like,
did it turn out that
why
way?
did it turn out
There's
that way?
always so many variables.
There are ways
it could be
there's
other
always
people's
something to learn.
perceptions, other people's, judgments, or it could be just your presentation. But
It's important to take all of that into consideration. But
did you wake up that day saying I'm gonna just make somebody's life hell, or did you wake up and say,
you didn't do your best?
I just was trying to be honest or something, and then understand where other people are coming from.
Yeah.
Without having to beat yourself up about it.
Right.
Because it's all a learning experience.
Right. I mean, like I said, I can still take responsibility for myself without putting blame or judgment. And like, even if my intentions were good, if I still hurt you, then I still have to take responsibility for that instead of being like, well, that was my intention, like, but like understanding
what the trigger was
for them.
Is there something that you could have said differently, or presented it differently? Or sometimes there's a situation where they got to work that out. I did that's all I could do.
You can only do what you can do.
Or
exactly.
Just give them their space.
That's so true. Well, we have 2 more cards that came out. 4 cards meant to come out for the 4 agreements. And what's funny is it's actually the author of the 4 agreements. So when you said you felt on Catherine's presence, the fact that the author of the 4 agreements came out, just popping his little head, I wanted to say my presence is here too. This is Don Miguel Ruiz. So for anyone who's interested in reading the 4 agreements, it is a powerful book. I've read it cover to cover multiple times. It's really easy to read as well. But it says Don Miguel Ruiz is a Nagual from the Eagle Knight lineage. He's dedicated to sharing his knowledge of the teachings of the ancient Toltec. Don Miguel is a New York Times bestselling author of The 4 Agreements, The Mastery of Love and Prayers, and he lives in San Diego. But this is a little message that he wanted to say. So this is for us, Mom, as well. Dear friends, I've written these cards to offer you a simple yet powerful code of conduct for attaining personal freedom and true happiness. There are 12 cards corresponding to each of the 4 agreements. Number 1, be impeccable with your word. Number 2, don't take anything personally. Number 3, don't make assumptions. And number 4, always do your best. These cards will help transform your life as you recover the awareness and wisdom of your authentic self. With love, Don Miguel. Very nice. He's part of that healing lineage too, and I love that. They're very, very simple agreements, but these agreements have changed my life dramatically, of not, being so quick to judge others or myself, not gossiping, not starting rumors, not talking smack about people or things, like trying to be pure with my word, with my actions, with my faith. To not take things personally. That's a huge one. And to see that everyone is doing their best, to do my best, to not make assumptions about what other people's intentions were. These are all really important things that we don't realize how much of our suffering comes from one of those things. So right now we have be impeccable with your word, number 1. Don't take anything personally and don't make assumptions. The don't take anything personally is embrace your freedom. I love that. And they're the little cardinal and blue jay. So once again, the same thing with this here. This is the multicultural of our family. Like, we are all from the human breed, all from the human species. but we're just different breeds. Different feathers can still flock together.
It's about the energy.
It's about the energy, your soul tribe.
Yeah.
You gain a huge amount of freedom when you take nothing personally. No spell can affect you, regardless of how strong it may be. And if you live without fear, if you love, you will be happy with your life. I need to hear that. If I live without fear, live without fear.
True healthy self-love.
Yeah. Life without fear, true healthy self-love.
Embracing your shadow self.
Yeah.
What is your shadow? The side that you don't want anybody to see, that you're ashamed of because someone, society basically has conditioned you to feel that this is something you should be ashamed of.
Yeah.
But when you can face that in the face, as you used
face
to
it
say,
in the face.
And embrace it.
Yeah.
I started thinking, what's the worst thing someone can think about me? And embrace that.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Taking that leap of faith.
Love yourself unapologetically.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You are precious, and we all have things to learn and grow, and constantly watch. I just observe my emotions now. I don't feel them so viscerally. As soon as I feel an emotion, anger, sadness, frustration, like, okay, where is that coming from? Is that your shadow? Is that your ego? Are you feeling somebody else's, thoughts or perceptions or words they might have said in the past?
Yeah.
And then it's like all an illusion, for real.
Really? True.
It can go. It can.
Exactly.
It can poof away as fast as it came, unless you choose to wallow in it.
Fear is an illusion, and I love that, because that goes exactly with these agreements. Like, if you shift the perspective of, is it really a personal thing? Is it? I mean, anything that anyone has to say or do to us, even if it is directly, it has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It's what they're going through.
Yeah.
And their issues, and and just letting that go.
Yeah, and feeling like a victim.
Right, exactly.
Of life.
And that's what he talks about too, the victim versus the judge versus the victor, and having to really understand what part of that within you is coming through when you make these agreements. And you can always change your agreements no matter what. And that's what this is happening. That's what this is about. It's this beautiful energy here. And we have our full moon in Aries this Thursday, the 17th. So that's always a big energy shift. And, it's the beginning of a new lunar cycle in all of the astrological chart. So the full moons are about completions, and so what is it that we are completing within ourselves? What is it that we're completing so we can step into our brand new contract of our best life, is what I'm hearing, of our highest timeline, and how we're becoming whole, how we're becoming more magnetic and more generous with the divine love within ourselves. Is what I'm hearing. This reading here, just looking at the pictures, is all about falling in love with yourself and doing the work to align with your highest frequency of conscious love. And that's what brings wholeness. That's what brings that fullness of coming back home to yourself. And that's what allows you to then be able to be in relationships that are whole and healed and complete and fulfilling, is what I'm hearing, right? This is really beautiful. And Mom, I really appreciate you, telling us about your story and being our guest here, our first tea+Tarot guest here.
Yes.
This was really fun. I forgot my tea formations, so maybe I'll have to sprinkle those on for the after, I don't know, maybe for the recap, since we'll have a different kind of recap for this tea+Tarot on my Daily Divines. But Is there anything else that you want to share before we go ahead and wrap this up?
Just,
any advice?
I'm very just excited to see your growth from your first tarot reading live to now, and all the years of the 21-day soul journeys and the sticky notes on the mirrors back when she was in high school, affirmations all over the house.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Going from, high school to trying to fit into making your own brand with your music. She is so talented. Y'all haven't even seen the whole picture of all the things she's gifted with, and
it's coming.
I'm excited to see you coming into your bliss work and just keep that confidence. You got all these followers out here. I can't believe all these followers. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you guys for the support.
Likes to hear what you're saying and in your authentic, true self, just letting it come through, and you're more and more confident. And look, we sitting here for all this time.
How long have we been talking about doing this, but could never get around to it because our energies are always like, blah, blah, blah. But that means a lot, Mom, and I really do appreciate it. We have come a very long way. Not to mention the fact that not only are we the Aries Libra axis, but the collective is in Aries Libra axis of then the North Node Aries, South Node Libra.
Yeah, and then the mom-daughter dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through definitely hell and back as a dynamic, and I think we have also experienced a lot of growth, but we've learned a lot, and I'm grateful that we can come to a place where even though we are the yin and yang, we can see that as the opportunity to be a balance for each other, as opposed to
have conquered the Matrix. The Matrix tried to get their hands on my daughters. Before any of us even saw what it was, and that would have, the goal, I think it has been to keep families, dispersed and against each other, and everyone feeling separate, and we had that instinct and that ability to be like, there's something deeper than this. Let's really heal, grow. We're worth it. Despite anything else, we gonna always love each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, we really have gone through a lot, and appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you have done for me and for us, and you've been such a rock in our family, and it's just been, this is an honor to be able to have this interview. I know you're the number one person like, can I record this conversation? So here we are recording this conversation for your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Mama Nia. She Queen Makeda. We better love her. It's her birthday. She better get it. Happy birthday to you. I love you.
Thanks and praise. Another day.
Absolutely.
Watch and pray, work and play.
Yes. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being a part of this birthday celebration and beautiful interview and unfolding of this so much energy that is really, really powerful and empowering. If this resonated with you, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, Princess Leah 888. Feel free to hit the notification bell if you want to know whenever I am going live or posting. And also might be doing this more with more guest speakers. This was a lot of fun. So if you like this, definitely comment in the sections of what you liked about it, what takeaways you took from Mama Nia. And if you'd like to book personal reading with me, you can also do so. My email is in the description box. You can book a full tea+Tarot soul session where you get a 1 ounce loose leaf handcrafted tea from my FemRems apothecary. And so just find me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, DM me there, or you can email me at femrems811@gmail.com. Until next time, beautiful souls, the light within me honors, values, respects, cherishes, and adores the light within you.
Namaste.
The light within all of you. Namaste. Peace and love. Bye.